Hi everyone, welcome back to the Gypsy Caravan. I'm Shan. I miss saying how you doing. I don't know. It was the flow of the time. Anyway, so for today's tutorial, or video rather, I don't quite know what I'm going to call it, but it's basically a makeup travel hack, if you will, or just a makeup hack in general. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm going to show you how to utilize your contour palette to its absolute potential, or the most you can get out of a contour palette. So before we get into the tutorial, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to follow me on social media. Let's get into it. So as I said in the beginning, today is going to be kind of like a makeup hack or a travel hack. See it how you will. It's a travel hack for me because I travel a lot and I have done this before and it was incredibly helpful, and I will be doing it again now just before I leave, obviously. But basically I'm just going to show you how I use my contour palettes to like their full potential, or the most that they can offer. And by doing that, essentially I'm going to be doing kind of an entire or full face using just my contour palettes. So let me just show you rather. So I have kind of a face on. I have foundation, concealer, brows done, my eyes are primed, things are set. The only thing that's missing is obviously the eyeshadow aspect and contour and highlight. I have two contour palettes. They're both by MAC. These are the Studio Fix Sculpt and Shape contour palettes, and I have both of the shade waves that only came in two. This first palette is for light to medium skin tones, and these are the shades that you will find in them. And it looks like, sorry, my palette is a mess. What's also really nice is that it comes with quite a big mirror. I'm not going to show you my room because it's a mess. And then this is the deeper toned contour palette. This is for medium dark to dark skin tones. These are the shades that come with it, which look like that. Also, just if you're confused, these are the color correcting highlighting powders, and then these are the bronzing and contouring powders. So you have 3 of each, which means that if you have an excessive amount of powders like I do, in the term, or in the sense that you have more than one contour palette like I do, you have a pretty large variety of shades to help sculpt your face and to define your eyes. So the first shade I'm going to go in with is from the lighter palette, and I'm going to go in with the third shade, which is this one here. It's called Bone Beige, and I'm going to pick that up on my 224 brush by MAC. I'm just going to pick up a little bit. It's kind of like a just off warm medium tone, which will make a good transition shade, so that's what I'm doing. I am just going to buff this into my crease area. So like I said, because you have a large variety of shades or depths of shades, you can create a couple of eye looks, but 90% of the time it is going to be somewhat of a smoky eye, and it will put you on the spectrum of being something super natural with only a few shades used, or something really deep and intense, which pretty much utilizes both your palettes. So I'm going to try and do that so that you kind of get the idea of what I do on tour. Okay, so now that we have that color buffed into the crease, you can see what a really nice transition shade that is for us. So I'm going to keep with the light palette, but I'm going to go into the center shade here, which is called Taupe, and I'm going to swap out to a slightly smaller but more dense fluffy brush. This is a 217 by MAC, and I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this, and we are going to use this just to define the crease area a little bit more. I'm sorry, the color is Sculpt, not Taupe, Sculpt. and we are going to use this just to define the crease area a little bit. I'm just going to tell you that because I want to actually explain how we got here. So just follow my hand and listen to my story. So the whole reason I didn't come up with this hack, it was a discussion we had back when I was still working at MAC, and I thought, wow, that's a really good idea to just travel with your contour palettes rather than packing a whole bunch of items if you are traveling. So I decided to actually put this hack in motion a couple tours ago, and all I took, because my whole deal when packing is to try and keep it as light as possible and to not bring too many products and things, not to overpack, that's what I'm trying to say. So I decided to try out the contour method we were all joking about at head office when I was still working at MAC, and it minimized my makeup packing quite a bit, because obviously this is now doubling up as an eyeshadow palette as well as a contour palette, and I just had an extensive range of shades and textures to play around with, to not only going back into diffusers to create as many looks as I could, but also to sculpt my face, because for me, with my face being so damn round, I don't want to look like a giant Easter egg every time I leave to go and do tours and shows like I do. For me, I feel like I need a little bit of definition, so it was quite helpful for me to it was quite helpful in the sense of it prevented me from overpacking, but also I could do just about my entire face with 2 palettes. And then you're probably thinking, oh, but everything is matte, you can't really do many things. Trust me, you can. By just packing your contour palette or your 2 contour palettes, however many palettes you feel you need, you can add 1 or 2 products in place of, to just amp up your look a little. So obviously I brought like an eyeliner to do a really smoky kind of look one day. I brought a liquid glitter eyeshadow for like a bit of color and pop for like when we went out that evening or when we do go out. Because that's the one thing I do like about these palettes, is that if you do just have a look at them side by side, the 2 pans that I've hit pan on are the bronzer shades. So this first one here, this one here is the bronzer shade for this palette. This is the bronzer shade for this palette. Everything else is cool toned, which means that your contour shades. So you have your bronzer, your contour shades, your color correcting powders, your highlighting powders, like everything is just in one. Like, how can that not be convenient? You know what I'm saying? So that is essentially how I got here. Okay, so moving on to the darker palette, I am going to pick up that first bronzing shade, which is called Shade Stir, and then keeping in with my 217, I'm going to use this to just warm up the eye. What I really like about these palettes as well is how big the mirror is. So if for whatever reason I am lazy or woke up late that day and need to do my makeup in the car or in the airplane or wherever I find myself in the situation that I need to do my makeup in, the mirror is large enough for me to see everything I am doing. So I'm also, just so that you are aware of what I'm doing, I'm taking that bronzer shade and I'm pushing it into the outer corner of my eye here and then running it through the crease, just so that we can bring back a little bit of warmth into the eye. So it's really quite convenient when palettes have these super large mirrors in them, because it just makes it super easy to do your makeup while traveling. Okay, so moving on, we are just going to deepen the outer corner. I've added like a little wing situation. Anyway, so we are going to go in with the third shade in the deeper palette. This is Definitive. It's a little bit warmer than this one and obviously darker than this one, but it still has that really nice rich, like warmy brown chocolate sort of color. So we're going to use that to define the outer corner. I'm still going to use my 217, whoops, to do that. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of dirt, and we are just going to keep this quite low. I'm only going to really push it in the outer corner, and then whatever's obviously left, buff that into the crease. But I want to start building some dimension in this outer corner here. So that's what I am going to do. Okay, so now that that color's done, to obviously add in what I feel would be like your black to your smoky eye, I'm going to go in with the center one here from the dark palette. This is called Shadowy, the shade right here. And I'm just going to swap over to a I've swapped over to a smaller, like more tapered blending brush. This is the JH40 from the Morphe Jaclyn Hill collection. And then I'm just going to pick up some of that. And I'm going to keep this on the lid only. And I'm just defining the very end of that outer corner. If you want, you can go in with a even more dense blending or packing brush rather, so you can use like a pencil brush or like an eyeshadow brush for the lid, that type of thing. Turn that outer corner. Normally, because this dark brown shade is not as pigmented as an eyeshadow, obviously, because remember this is still a face product. The shades and pigmentation and formulas of these products are very sheer because it's meant for the face. I would normally, like my extra product would be either a really dark brown eyeshadow or a black to really just smudge out like my liner, or to just amp up and make the outer corners of my eyes pop a little bit more. Again, but it's all up to you what you feel you need to add in order to make this look stand out a little bit more for you. Just add a lip color and do underneath. For underneath, I'd go in with like a liner brush. This is the JH43 from the same collection, and I would just use this. I'm going in with Shadowy again. Use this brush underneath as like a pencil liner or eyeshadow as an eyeliner. You can even use this on the top to make it look like you're wearing liner. So you can see, even though I've used that really dark shade, it's still fairly soft. And it's not super harsh. It's just because the formula is really soft and super easy to blend out. The formula is really buttery. And then I'm just going to take that small blending brush and just soften that line out. Okay, so let's get a lid color going. I would either go in the darker palette into the center here, which is called Light Sweep, or I would pick up from the lighter palette the peachier shade, which is called Accentuate, and I would use that as a brightener for the lid space. For today, I think I'm going to go in with Light Sweep, which is from the darker palette. I'm just going to use that same JH40 brush and just pick up some of that. And I'm just going to tap that in to the space on the lid here that doesn't have any eyeshadow. And you can already see how much that has brightened up the eye look and how that has just opened up this space. It's like an immediate eyeshadow brightener, highlighter. The lighter palettes highlighters are not super shimmery, where the darker palette Light Sweep does have a little bit of a shimmer in it, so that will reflect on your lid. And then I'm just going to blend the outer corner into the lid. and just run this through the crease. So you can see that has opened up the eye space even more. I'm just going to highlight underneath the brow, and I'm going to use the exact same light sweep with the exact same brush just to highlight the brow area. So I'm just going to run that through there so that we have a little bit of a light highlight there. And then of course, if you do want to go lighter, or if you like a really light highlight underneath your brow, you can either go in with emphasize, or what I really like to do is I like to mix emphasize and cream together, because I feel like emphasize can be quite stark and maybe a little too bright, and cream, with it mixed together with cream, it just neutralizes it a little bit, if that makes sense. For an inner corner highlight, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a mixture from the light palette of emphasize and cream. Bring my mirror back up, whoops. And I'm going to use that just in the inner corner there to create a highlight. Now you must remember, these highlights are not going to be like your normal highlighters. This is going to highlight your face, not add a highlight to your face. So it is a brightening powder, but it's not going to add shimmer or like that blinding wet look highlighter that you see on the cheeks. It's just going to bring light to the face where it's missing light, obviously. Now that we're done with the eyes, you can obviously go in with your additives, which is like your eyeliner, your mascaras, a glitter if you want to add a glitter. I'm going to leave it like this because this is pretty much generally what I would do. I am going to move on to bronzing and contouring my face. And I'm also going to show you how to highlight with the palettes. So the brush I like to use is the 168 because I can contour and bronze with this brush. So the first shade I'm going to go in with is this bone beige again. I'm going to use this as a bit of a bronzer, but I'm going to contour as well, so do a little bit of a bronzer, if you will. So I'm just going to sweep this up along the face. I don't particularly like this shade on my skin because it is quite pinky red, and I am super fair. So on some skin types it works, but not on mine because I flush red in this area in any case. So I am going to use it as a base for the rest of my products because it is already quite warm. All over, I'm not being precise, like it's not going underneath my cheekbone. It's just pretty much going all over the cheek area because I like to create dimension. So I like to use bronzer all over the face and then go in with a little bit of a deeper shade and be a little bit more precise, and then go in with a super deep shade and then keep it really like super tight, so that when you turn your face you have this really dimensional bronzy contour look. And then I'm also just going to come down on the jaw a little bit. So I'm going to pick up Shade Stir out of the darker palette, but I'm not going to pick up a lot. I'm just going to do like a couple of touches and keep that quite low down on the cheek like that, just for like extra warmth. So now I'm going to pick up a little bit of shadowy, but just with the tip, because this is an angled brush, just with the tip of the brush, and I'm going to run this along underneath my cheekbone, so you can see there got some nice shadow going. I don't want it to be too dark because the shadowy shade is super dark, and then once that has left, I'm going to blend that up into the rest of those products that I have placed down. So it's just creating that when I look straight at you I have that shadow that cuts my face. That would be considered my contour. Picking up an eyeshadow brush or a cheek brush, blush brush, whatever you feel works best for you. I am going to pick up Emphasis and Cream from the Light palette, and I'm going to use this to set underneath my eyes, just to bring some highlight back into the face. So I just kind of run it along like this, and then take it up to where I would place highlighter. Because I'm not putting highlighter on the face, I am highlighting my face. So this look is very, very matte, and you can highlight your face with matte products, and you can obviously contour with matte products. A little bit of that sculpt on my contour brush, and I'm just going to run that alongside the sides of my nose so that I have a shadow there, but I'm not like contouring my nose. My nose is very skew, and if I try and bronze or contour my nose incorrectly, it just emphasizes the fact that it's skew. So I do a light contour, and then just picking up cream, I will put that in the center so that any mistake I have made I can fix as a highlighter. Pretty much the look, and this is pretty much how I make the most of my contour palettes when I do travel and things, to do my eye makeup as well as my face. And it saves me a lot of time trying to go into my bag to look for products when like everything is just here at like the tips of my fingertips, if that makes sense. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Here is kind of the completed look. I haven't put mascara or anything on yet because I do want to just add to this, but this is pretty much how I do my face on tour. It won't obviously be this excessive. I've done the most excessive look I can do with my contour palettes. I do less, obviously. So if you're keen to see that, I will be doing my contour palettes travel hack for this tour coming up that I am going on. So if you want to see the eye looks that I do create for myself while I am on tour, then be sure to follow my page, which you can do right here. This is my handle for all my social media. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like, give me a follow, and share this video to your friends. Leave a comment if you have questions, or if you have a specific video that you want to see me do on my channel. I can do those for you too. Oh, I had a shiver. Other than that, thank you so much for watching again. Don't forget that whenever you can, to refer the Gypsy Caravan. Thanks. Bye.